You're doing it with RHS?
Yeah.
Alright, one sec, let me launch my mods.
So I have all my modules down right. Boolean modules, basic ALiVE modules. None of these need to be synced. Got
Welcome back, Page Channels.
ALiVE required. Live virtual AI. Live data. Player option. C star. C2I star is the commander.
Driver problems.
The dynamic weather and combat logic. Player logistics. Calling for airdrops, heli inserts. All right, so
yeah,
yes.
Yes.
So to make
my driver went on the fritz for my headset apparently.
Three-way. Going to start with Blue 4 base.
Alright, one sec, my game's booting up.
You guys start Narma?
He's gonna show me something on the editor.
Nope,
If you check out my stream, I'm doing it right now.
We've been playing it for like weeks straight, like every single day for hours.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Just in secret off TeamSpeak?
And TeamSpeak, making events and all that stuff. And only these 3 people show up.
What?
Name the marker Blue 4 TAOR. Blue 4 total area of responsibility. I just do that for every ALiVE mission.
Days.
Oh, this should be all caps. I like to do it in all caps. That's just the standardization. Everything knows what everyone. If everyone were to do this same way that that ALiVE team showed in their tutorials, it'd be a lot easier for people to just like copy and paste missions, know what's going on. I'm gonna make this like 300 by 500. Adjust its angle. And this will be the blacklisted core area. That's that. Now start with the CSAT. They're going to control the airfield. And they control all the military compounds outside of this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the actual commander. Boom. And I want to make the HQ somewhere around this building. Don't need the debug.
LP, your voice is cutting it out. Like you're not talking loud enough.
Okay. Persistence, I always run as on. Invasion, no, it's going to be occupation. Reset forces. Or we have to do that, I just do it. Do that wrong. Yeah. That's wrong. I don't know why. So after we got, oh, I can't say that right. F. Okay. What? Oh, I didn't save it, dumbass. All right, so that's what happens when you save it. Resistance, yes. Invasion, occupation. Reset. Don't have to do this, but anyways. And then to the military placement mark. Just going to occupy military zones. I want them to create their HQ around here somewhere. So put it right there. Don't need the debug on. And you don't have to do this, but I've had weird issues when I don't create a total area of responsibility marker where it doesn't work. So I always make a marker. So this is going to be op for total area of response. There we go. Op for TAOR. We want to blacklist blue for total area of responsibility. Want them to spawn 8 units there. Place units, not 1,200 units. So we're going to place, let's just go with 60. Random force waiting, no camps, 100% readiness. We need a field HQ. We don't need a field HQ because we have the military compound. And then let's just do a low ambient V. Let's just do no ambient V. And we're going to synchronize the commander to that module. He knows that these are his objectives. I mean, they were pretty much already his objectives because of this faction right here. But this makes sure that they're connected. That's all you have to do for the Op4 faction. Now, create a marker real quick. For the blue 4 total area responsibility. And we could use the same marker in Op4 for the independence. It's going to be, I think, the island 2,700 by 3,600. Close enough. Eight 37. That'll work. Rename it. Up for full area response. So that'll take care of the Op4, and it'll only spawn them in the military compounds. Now we need pendants. Them and Camp Maxwell like I did the last time. So I need here. No, yes. Damn it, yes. And these are going to be gorillas. Done, and I think it's RH faction. I'm gonna check that. Pendant. Select it. Copy it. Don't trust my spelling. I'm gonna write this. That looks right. All right, and then we need the actual placement mark. Oh wait, we're doing a civilian placement. What am I thinking? Let's do Gurna. So somewhere in Gurna is going to be headquarters. Organize, do real quick. Just in particular order. This is already set up for insurgents. I gotta set up the civilian placement module for. Don't need that. I'm gonna use the same marker as the Op4, so that. Go ahead and blacklist the blue 4 area as well. They don't spawn there. Place units, we're going to go ahead and do the same amount, 60 units. Actually, let's make it 100 units. They're insurgents. Lower tech than the that. Okay, and that's going to be insurgent fact. Paste that there. That's that. That's done. You got 2 factions, commanders, our base over here. I'm just going to throw down a unit so we can bug it. Save it as ALiVE freeway tutorial or something. Can't spell. Save. All right. So, and I always save before I do. I try to save before I do my first test because there's a problem, and like for some reason your computer crashes or like because it happens sometimes. Like I'll go to preview a mission and the game will just crash, or I won't have saved like any kind of updates that I made to a mission, and I'll go and test it, and I'll be in there testing it, and my game will crash, or my computer will crash, and I'll lose all the saves. So I try and save as frequently as possible. Never fucking know. So we have marker for the OPFOR, which is also used by the insurgents to spawn in the military camps and the cities, respectively. There is no blue for commander. This is just a blacklisted zone so that no opposing factions. And none of the debug is on, so we won't see anything until I go in the admin panel and turn on the debug. So I'll do that after we get
Probably
test.
a stupid question, but how do I find your live stream?
Twitch./Lord Primate. Twitch TV. Second. Go. And let me tab real quick. All right, so yeah, this should be pretty cut and dry, straightforward. Nothing, no
Thank you.
frills, no. There's no like.
Should have been easy to find with
oh.
what I was searching.
Other thing we could do here is you can't do this with the insurgents faction, but any kind of invasion or occupation commander can utilize the logistics, and you would synchronize the commander module to it. Set it up, and you'll persistence. I always use persistence. This basically, they'll call if it's an AI. They'll call for reinforcements dynamically. They won't call for them in the same place every time. And if you use static, they'll use the closest of whatever they're trying to capture, I guess. That's not very clear. But I always use dynamic. And force pull, it depends on how many reinforcements allow them to call. Infinite, obviously it's infinite, and each like unit or call for it is like a unit of reinforcement. So if you have 50, they can only call for 50 groups. So it could be a fire team, like a vehicle would be. But yeah, so let's just set this like 100. They can obviously call for helicopters, planes, armor, motorized. Basically, they can call for anything they need. So since they're outnumbered 60 to 100, and then they have us to fight as well, they'll be able to call for reinforcements. Pretty interesting. It's not really a frill, but that's definitely a bonus for this particular. Other things you can do is add the close quarter module, which is actually, if this is going to mess this up, but yeah, asymmetric. So if we're going to do asymmetric battles, we're going to need close quarter that the insurgents can utilize the cities that they capture. That commander is the markers up. Oh, nope, wrong one. Faction up. Whoops. And this is just the spawn radius. Set it up at 500. Density off. Probability, let's do 50% of the buildings. Static. Always spawn. That'll be, there's two different areas. There's strategic and civilian. Because is not really obvious, but military building. And then civilian is, that's obvious, it's civilian buildings. So these guys are going to be taking over the civilian area, so we want them just to have the civilian area for CP. So that's that. And if you want them to, the insurgents to have IEDs, place the IED module down, synchronize the commander to that module, and the commander will utilize the IED. They won't just be randomly placed, they'll be utilized by the insurgent commander. So same thing here with the markers, op4 THR. 4. Don't want them in our base. Low threat. Audio. Directional. Low. For an IED. And that's that. A little frill there. So we got insurgents. They're going to be using CQB, and they're going to be, and they're only going to be capturing, or have captured. Got the CSAT. They're going to have reinforcement capabilities, and they're only going to be capturing the military compounds. I can give them a close quarter module, but I'm not going to. Let that ride. And then we're not going to do any Blue 4 commander. We're just going to have those two factions duking it out, and then the Blue 4 is going to be player fed action. Most of these other modules are already placed over here as far as the default, like a required data, a player option system. Yeah, what's up?
Do civilians next.
Civilians? Oh, civilians are already done.
Yeah.
Got civilian population right here. This is part of the sorry, I didn't really point that out earlier very clearly. But I got the civilian population right here. It's already set up. Markers are set up. Blacklisted from the blue base, whitelisted for the op4 marker. I don't need the debug. Oh, that's not the right marker. All right, so I'll write it down. I have active limiter of 15 units, so they'll spawn within. They're all going to be hostile to every faction. And then the actual placement module, op4 marker. No filters, and there will be extreme placements. So there will be lots of civilians. I've actually tested this, and there is a great difference between low and extreme. But I read somewhere that you get the same amount of placement if you ignore small objective and then put this on low. But I don't believe it. Low placement. I've tested it, and I got like 6 more civilians than I did with low placement. And we're not going to filter anything. It's everywhere. That's that. I mean, civilian placements forward. If you want to, there's several missions that I've seen people do this. You can take this, create a second module, a second placement module, and then create a smaller marker, like let's just say Aegea Marina. And then what we'll do is you could easily go and create a marker over here. Oh, there we go. Name it Aegea Marina. And what's supposed to happen is that placement module that you've designated to utilize just this marker is going to place even more civilians in that one area. I've tested it. I didn't notice a single bit of difference. I actually noticed more lag, but I noticed less AI civilians. So I don't do that. I usually just put one and let it kind of cover the whole map or a particular area that I want ambience. That's already there. Civilian placement and population are pretty much almost a standard most of my. So yeah, that's that. That's all my ACE module stuff. You already have that, Giggles. This is the Zeus module. One for any admins that are logged in. What? Huh. And then I have one. The admin voted. And that's pretty much all I really need. Because I only want the admins to have access to that. Also, since we run MCC, I have MCC put down with only my player ID in it so that I'm the only one that can access MCC in these. I don't really ever use it that much, except for like when I'm testing really, or if it's not really a serious mission. It's just mostly so that randoms that join the server because you have to have MCC won't have access. People I trust not to just use it and abuse it, I'll add their IDs to that list, but I haven't really had a need to requested it. So yeah, let's just do a quick test, and we'll use Zeus to check out spawning of the AI. And since it's a whole map mission, it's going to take a little longer to spawn shit. For actually spawning units, it's going to take a little longer on that. But if you were just doing objectives, if we were just doing debug stuff, if we weren't spawning units, it'd take a lot less time. But whatever. That's just the pitfall of ALiVE missions. It takes a little bit more time to preview them and test them out. Huh. Why do I not have any sound? Oh, I think I know why I don't have any sound. It's because the mission was still my Arma was still playing when I was running the game through my speakers. So when I unplug my speakers and plug my headphones in, it doesn't let me hear the game. I have to restart the actual game. But that's okay. We don't actually need anything. So there's a bunch of spawning and stuff going on right now, so it's going to be a little bit lag. But we're going to do module settings, system, and activate profiles debug. You'll be able to see all the profiles of all the AI that are cached on the and you can already see there's a battle going on over here virtually, or going to be. We have E2, or no, where's E1? We have E1 right here. This is E1. There's an actual group right here that are next to the op. We have an op4 group right here, independent group here, independent right here, independent group right there. All looks like the civilian areas are held by independents. Independent group right here and right there. And there's one right. That one, no. You zoom out, you can kind of see a little better. A little bit of green here. Then we have all our OP4 units taking up all the military bases. These X's are their waypoints. So Group 24 is heading here. Group 20 is heading here. Group 18 is heading here. Are these from here? Main base, or where are they coming from? 24, 18, and so Group 24 is right here. You can see them moving north. They just marker this. They're moving north. 28's down here. They should be moving north to capture. Then we got ourselves right here. Now what's not going to happen is they're not going to attack us because we don't have any placement modules or any objectives for attack. We've been completely blacklisted. This whole area is pretty much off limit to them. They shouldn't come this direction. Now to solve that, I'd have to go back in the editor and place a Blue 4 commander, and then place a module or an objective module, a military objective module just for Blue 4, but that doesn't place units in. Just creates an objective. And then I have to synchronize the opposing factions to that module, and that'll tell them that here is a base for you to attack, and what faction it is. But otherwise, they're not going to bother. Let's just go Zeus over here. So they're moving. Copter spawn there. If I move the camera, there's going to be AI spawning that weren't spawning before. These guys are all activated. These guys are activated now because they're within the 2-kilometer range that I'm sitting in. That's pretty much it. It's done. That's the mission. Here you'll see independent faction spawn in. There should be some.
Okay, so now how would I stop it from it spawning urban op 4?
There won't be any urban op 4 because you didn't place any CQ modules down and synchronize op 4. As you can see, like there's just the civilians and the independents. There are no op 4 because they weren't. There's no civilian objective mod.
Okay.
Now what I forgot to do was synchronize the commanders to each other's modules. They're not really gonna fight. Ooh, that. But yeah, they're fighting over here. Yeah, they're fighting over here. We can't hear it because it's my. If they're duking it out right now, for the airfield. The insurgents are doing what they do. They're just a fire team attacking the airfield, trying to create some disruption. They're not going to really attack like invasion command. That works, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now.
So what would happen if I have an invasion op 4 commander and a occupy op 4 commander?
Both the same. You can't do that. You can't have two commanders of the same type. Pretty sure you can't. Maybe you could, but I've never tested it. Never seen it mentioned that you can't do it, but there's have been people talking about you can only do certain numbers of AI commander action. I think it's you're only allowed to do. So let's back out the editor. Talk about.
Mike, say something.
What?
What? You're mumbling a second ago. But anywho, so in order for the op 4 or the
out, I got LP and stereo.
Yeah, in order for the RHS insurgents to really know where the op 4 are, you have to synchronize the commander module, the opposing faction's placement module. And that basically just says the areas that this module is spawning as CSAT are going to be objectives for the RHS. The same thing goes for CSAT. I'm going to synchronize the commander to, synchronize the commander to civilian placement module of the insurgents. Now that's going to let the CSAT know they need to attack civilian bases, civilian areas that the RHS insurgents hold. Now, if you had a third commander, do the same thing. I had a blue 4 commander, which I'm going to do right now. That they will attack this area instead of leaving it open. We're going to create a third commander. The Marines. Spawn my unit as all. And it's going to config viewer because I always hit exact word. RHS faction US MC. Copy that. Paste it in here. Because it's not NATO, you have to put that to none. Not NATO. Custom faction. You have to use the override section. Set the debug off. Distance on. Let's do. Doesn't really matter because we're not going to place any unit. Doesn't really matter. But we have the commander. Then we just place the military objective. This is a military. Put it right there, and we'll enter to that. Play objective zone. Doesn't matter what this count is. As far as like any of these settings for size, weight, none of that matters because you're not placing. Not going to create any headquarters, field HQs, no air units, no nothing, no nothing. Disable the debug. Put my markers down. So now this is actually the blue 4 area. So do that, and you don't need to blacklist anything because you want the commander to know what's going on. Not doing anything, so it doesn't matter. So, like I said earlier, got to synchronize this commander to the opposing factions objective module. They know where to attack. We're gonna sync that commander, and the same thing. Now the insurgents will not also attack the CSAT, but they will attack us. And the same thing goes for CSAT. CSAT will not only attack. Yes, I can see your text. I just don't look over there that often. But so that's how that works. Not going to attack those areas unless you synchronize and tell them that those areas are there. So I have the insurgents CSAT and blue 4. I have the CSAT synchronized to insurgents and blue 4. They will know this area is here. They will know that we are NATO or whatever, the blue 4 faction, and they are known to come over here and attack us. But it's at their discretion. They're not going to set. Depends on, if this is a very high priority area, then they'll come over here and attack us first. But they won't. They shouldn't, because the GM arena is a larger objective than this, firing range. So CSAT's probably going to attack a GM arena first, try and take that before they take us, because we have a smaller, a lower priority. So yeah, that's it. That's the 3-way that you want it, girls. Not really that hard. It just takes a little bit of synchronizing and kind of knowing how to use the mod, which you're learning. So that's why I do this for you. And I can post it so you for people to watch too. So you can add all sorts of stuff. If you want, like you say, you didn't want CSAT to have people in buildings in the towns. So what I could do is I could synchronize the CSAT commander to a military close quarters battle and only have it use strategic area. I think is what I did by accident with the insurgents. I want to change that. Oh, persistent, yes. So we'll leave that strategic. That's complete map because it set that down. Oh, so this CQB locations is overridden by the markers. If you set a marker down, or if you synchronize to an objective, this location's setting will be overridden. But I set a complete map because I want to just towns, because we're not using towns. Solo, dominant, no, we're static, so just opt for within 500 meters. of enemy units, and it's going to be op 4. They are, and then we're going to blacklist blue 4 area. With what I've done right now, yes, you can. You can talk to civs and reduce tensions. Civilians spawning in towns and all over the map. Okay, so this will just spawn CQB units within strategic military areas that the CSAT commander occupies. And I have to change the close quarters battle for here. Oh no, I did set it up correct. Okay. All right, so it was up correctly. Let's set this as well. Markers are set up. All right, cool. That was set up correctly. I think I'm gonna up the amount of surgeons just cause. All right. Yeah, let's test this out. I'm gonna save it. Let's give it a go. I'm gonna get some water real quick. I'll be right back.
I'm getting edumacated.
What do you mean?
Oh, please teach me so.
Oh.
All right, I'm back. Is this actually loaded? No, it's not. Okay, that's deceiving. When you're doing single player stuff, it'll kind of flash and show you your avatar, and you'll be down the you'll be down here, like you think you're good to go, but then it'll flash and the clouds will change, and then it'll help load some more shit. So best to just not fucking do anything for a minute and just wait it out. Don't panic. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into Zeus. Check the map. Then we can see that the areas that are close to us within 2 kilometers of all their CSAT, all the military areas. So this is considered a military area just because it's Hescrows in the middle of nowhere. So that's considered a military area. So there's a team there. LZ Baldy, there's a squad or a team there. Rogaine has a fire team and a helicopter. We have I think this is the same. This is the Rogaine area, so they're rolling west of Rogaine. That's all that's currently active. We can see the profiles. Go ahead and files debug. Go on the map, and you can see there's more independents. Quite a few more here. Groups over here. There's a couple more groups. One already over here on the airfield. Huh. I might have to create a blacklist that the insurgents don't spawn near the airfield at. But I'll look into that later. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and zoom here with Zeus. See what's going on. Nothing's here now, but things will start spawning in. Billions, vehicles here and here. Here comes the independence. I'll zoom out. Got independence here, here, shooting, tracers. That's the problem with ambient vehicles is they'll fucking blow up hangars and shit. So sometimes it's not a great idea. More independence here, and you see all the civilians. All those purple markers are civilians walking around doing their civilian thing. That second story, yeah, sitting down, chilling. Lots of civilians. There you go. We're over here. Now this is getting shorter because all those units are spawning. How ALiVE works. Dead helicopter there. The crew's dead. It doesn't look like anyone's coming to attack us just yet because Op4 is set on occupy. They have to have a certain amount of units staying in a certain area to occupy it. That's how it's different from invasion. They'll send more units out. They will keep to occupy. So those areas become vulnerable for attack. As opposed to occupy, most areas would be pretty fortified with enemy units or whatever to keep them safe. So CSAT set on occupy, so they're going to try and occupy their areas first. And if they have enough units in a specific area, that's when they'll start to move out and try and capture another area. Doesn't look like any of these units are coming to attack our base. So we could probably move out from here and, you know, whatever kind of missions we want to do. But we're not going to run into independent RHS, the Russian insurgents until we get into civilian areas. The other thing is that some civilian areas aren't actually profiled on this map. Like Aegea Sophias and Aegea Leonis aren't profiled, so they're not going to, they're not going to spawn independents that we've set. So in order to do that, we'd have to create a custom objective and then synchronize it to the insurgent commander to do that. But we haven't done that, so that's not going to happen. So those two towns aren't going to be objectives, even though they technically should be. This town right here isn't going to be objectives, even technically. No, it should be. It's a town. It's a small area. The inhabitants. Yeah, so there's just not. It's not like Altus where there's a shit ton of civilian areas to deal with. It's just Aegea Marina, Gurna, and I think the area around J Cove is all classified as a civilian area. So yeah. And again, if you want to make it an actual three-way with three different kinds of AI, you just have to change that objective only placement module for the Blue 4 commander to place actual units. And then adjust the number of units you want to place. We could do that as a quick test next. And most of them do invasion. But we'll do that. Oh, it's just literally one setting difference will change basic module. Then we'll have to synchronize the commander to the factions. So what we're going to do is just open this up and then change this from objectives only to place units. And then select the unit count that we want to place in this area. I'm going to send 30. No camps, no nothing. And we'll just do spec ops. Actually, no, light infantry. We'll force it on most of the infantry. We don't need a field HQ because that's just going to cause problems. We place units. So we're going to place air units, supplies, and that should be good. That'll change the dynamic. Oh, I didn't Yet I didn't synchronize the Blue 4 commander stat and placement modules, so we won't go anywhere. Probably just sit base. I mean, the group as a whole. I have to quickly change. Can. Is that? While I'm waiting, I'm gonna fucking rip a fat bong hit. Oh, let's see if I can. Yep, sweet. Like, pause it right here. Go to the editor real quick. All right, so I'm talking about you gotta synchronize your commanders, your opposing factions placement module. So, CSAT military placement module, and then the insurgent civilian. Bam. So now all the commanders are synchronized to the opposing faction's placement modules. And like I said, that just all that does is just tell them what to attack or what objectives are enemies going to be holding. God, I love ALiVE. ALiVE is such a great mission building tool. It doesn't. You can't really create a really intricate, intimate like kill the HVT mission, but you can create that mission, with minimal AI. Just place the HVT and the scripts you need to do that, and then use ALiVE to create the ambience around that area. You know what I mean? That's what ALiVE is mostly meant for. Is not to create the whole mission, but it can and easily do that. But it could also be used for much smaller missions. If you want to create like a attack an objective or whatever, you could use ALiVE to create ambience around it. And it'll always be different. That's a great thing about ALiVE. Is it'll always be different. We're not done here. We're waiting. Still waiting for it to load up. It's a false positive. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna have to restart my game after this. Hear what's going on. But we got our low ambient vehicle on dance. There's our friendlies running around. There's only be like I said, 30 or so. A couple of groups. And depending on what our commander wants to do, which I forget if I said it's an invasion or occupation. I know I just did it, but I forgot. This real quick. Look, bam. So, got 3 groups coming this way. Where's 41 going? I'm looking for a blue X that has 41 attached. Anywhere. Don't know where that unit's going. 41's going somewhere. Vehicle up. If it was. Huh. Where it's going. Huh. That's weird. Usually there's a marker. I'll use Zeus. Oh, it is infantry. Have no way. Look at that. They have no waypoint. They have a waypoint. It's just not being alive, which does happen as well. Sometimes, all right, you see this group right here? Oh, this is a little off subject. But, all right. So this was obviously spawned by ALiVE. And sometimes in missions, you'll have groups that you won't be able to manipulate, Zeus, that were spawned by ALiVE. Now, that's not supposed to happen. Like, all ALiVE spawn units are supposed to be created and able to be used by Zeus. But sometimes things like this, and not being able to see their waypoints and shit like that, happen. Happens.
Alright, guys, I'm heading to bed.
See you.
Alright, dude. Later on.
Later.
Good night.
So yeah, they're heading out. We must be set on invasion then. That tells me that we're set on invasion because these guys, there's like very little people at base. Next to none. Literally just looks like it's just me. I don't see anybody else standing there. These two groups heading out. There is a group inside this building. Alright, so these two are going to head on collision. So let's actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of Zeus, hit up ALiVE, admin act, able teleporting. Teleport right here. Off teleporting, so I teleport myself. But we're going to run into quad. Plus I can't hear anything though. I have a stinger? Yep. Or is that a small? Looks like a stinger. I think the up 4 is up on the hill over there. I think they are engaged. Being shot at. Where are they? Oh, they're over there. I seen them. That's the sucky thing about not hear anything. I know they're close. But yeah, there you have it. Huh. Well, I want to turn my sound back on. I think I'm done. So I can easily just stop here. push this tutorial. Watch it whenever. Pause it and shit and find. Alright, well. Do exactly that. End the stream right here. Call it a toot. Toot for Ute. And yeah, that way it's just a small video for you to upload. Alright.